Hello to my first responders approaching retirement, or maybe you're already in retirement, or you could be the spouse or the significant other of a first responder who is approaching retirement or is in retirement. I'm Kimberly Stratman. I am a certified life coach. I'm also a certified retirement life coach. And what that means is I help people as they're approaching or while they are in retirement. And we don't talk about the money because the money isn't the living. The money is very important, but it's not the living, it's not the life part of it. And that's the part that I help people with. And honestly, I help them help themselves, which is really an interesting thing. Being a 30-year first responder myself, obviously, I want to help people. And it very dear to my heart that I am helping first responders, helping my people help themselves. I really like that. I often ask first responders to make sure that they have taken care of their relationships while they are still working. So if you've already retired, it's not too late, but it is kind of easier to start while you're still working. It's always easier to start today, but it was even easier to start yesterday, right? They say that when it comes to, planting trees and stuff like that. So hopefully you have been taking care of the relationships in your life, but if you have not, it is not too late. So when it comes to relationships in your life, why is that important? Research shows that individuals who have other people in their lives that they care about tend to be healthier. They also tend to be more active. They tend to be more content. They tend to be more willing to try new things. All of that is important in retirement. All of that is important in life in general. And there's something I want to stress, and I probably need to say this more often. Retirement is not a destination. That might be your retirement trip, it might be your retirement party, but retirement itself is not a destination. It is just the rest of your life. So, what you're doing today is actually getting you set up for a better tomorrow, whether you're retired already or approaching retirement. Let's go back to relationships. The relationships that you have in your life, you just might have some surface relationships. Those are fabulous. Those are great. You can keep them that way, or you can take efforts to deepen them. Those are the people that you just say hi to, the people that you acknowledge throughout your day, maybe the coffee shop, maybe while you're out walking the dogs. Unfortunately, today it might even be your neighbors. You don't really know them, but you do say hi to them and stuff. And we can never discount those relationships because they are there and they can, like I said, stay how they are, or take a moment, stand there and say, "How have you been doing?" Or, "Hey, is that a new truck?" Or, "What kind of dog is that?" Or, "Hey, I see you here often. Do you work in the area?" And none of this is creepy. And here's the funny thing, every one of you are thinking right now, "I'm not talking to that person. He's a criminal. I know he's a criminal. He's a liar." Yeah, there's a possibility. Um, but there are some good people out there. I mean, heck, you and I could run into each other someday and say hi, right? And we're not criminals. But just keep that in mind. I know it's really hard for us to approach different people or acknowledge different people, but we actually are acknowledging them. We're just doing them in a way that doesn't really invite communication or invite friendliness or invite a relationship to prosper. We're kind of giving them that look that's letting them know that, hey, I know you're there and I know what you're up to and I don't trust you and you're not going to get away with anything. It's not going to work in your relationships, unfortunately. And am I joking around about that? I am, but I'm not. It's serious. We do it. We absolutely do it. It's a skill that we have and it's served us well throughout our career. Doesn't always serve us very well trying to form friendships and supportive relationships in our retirement. Let's look at a very important relationship that you hopefully have been able to maintain throughout your career, and that is your family relationship. What a lot of us do is we're like, "I'm too busy to give my family any time." And then when you're approaching retirement, you're like, "Oh, I'll have time for them then." And we realize they don't want us anymore. They don't need us anymore. Our spouse, we don't really know what they've been doing with all their time. We're just a paycheck to them, right? It's unfortunate. A lot of times that can be addressed. A lot of times it can be fixed. A lot of times with counseling and therapy and a lot of time and a lot of attention, that can be fixed. So don't give up on that if that's the situation that you're in. Other times it's just kind of been neglect. We haven't been taking care of our people. We haven't been letting our spouse or our significant other know how much we appreciate them. And we just haven't been spending time with them. Same thing with our children, whether they're still young or they're grown. Maybe they grew up without you. Maybe your shift work, maybe your rotating shifts, maybe your court schedule, maybe your time at the station just really didn't keep you present in their life. Again, you're going to have some time. No better way to spend it, right? Than letting those that matter to you know that they matter to you. Again, it could take some work, but you can do it. You had your career, you survived your career. Surely you can find it in yourself to make those relationships closest to you work. Let's say the relationship can't work. I'm not talking so much with your children because I just, as a mother, I can't bring myself to say that, even though I know there are a lot of estranged parents and children. It exists, and you can get help for that. But let's say that your marriage or long term relationship with another adult isn't going to continue. A lot of people just hold on. They hold on because they didn't see it coming, or they hold on because they don't want their pension split, or they hold on because they don't want to have to sell the house that's paid for. And I am just going to invite you to think of how your life could be if you were with somebody that loved you and respected you, and you loved and you respected. Imagine the next 10, 20, 30, heck, 40 years of your life with another human who wants to be with you, who thinks you're funny, who thinks you're cute, who gets that odd sense of humor that you have, who's happy just sitting with you. Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about on this? I've been through the divorce. It's awful. My children were young. It was a financially, almost financial suicide for me. It was difficult. But I'm in a relationship now that is fabulous. We've been married 18 years. And I'm hoping it lasts for that, let's see, 58, 40 more years. I'm hoping 40 more years. Heck, let's go for 50. But my point on that is that I feel like I'm thriving in this relationship. And if I was in a relationship where I didn't love the person or he didn't love me, and there wasn't the respect and there wasn't just the understanding of we're in this together and it's going to be good, I, retirement wouldn't be the same as it is right now. So please keep that in mind. I know it's hard. It's very hard topic, very hard decisions, but it's worth it. So let's look at some deeper relationships outside of the home. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Think of things that you like to do. Now, let's also look at this. There are some people who like people and some people who don't necessarily like people. And there's people who want to talk to people and there's people who don't want to talk to people. There's people who want to listen to people and people who don't want to listen to people. So it does help to know who you are and find some activities that fit that. If you don't like talking to people, don't put yourself in a group necessarily that expects you to carry a good portion of the conversation. Well, maybe you can try it. Let's say that. Why don't you try it and see how it goes? So maybe don't go into it saying, I'm not going to like it. Maybe go into it and saying, I haven't liked this in the past, but I'm going to try it now and I might like it. I'm older. I'm wiser. I'm retired. I might like it. And just kind of see how that goes. I do want to stress something, and that is when we're talking about relationships and friendships, it's not like on TV. You don't need a whole apartment building of friends. You don't need a whole block full of friends. You just need a couple of people that you care about. A couple of people that care about you. Somebody that when something exciting happens, you want to tell them. Or when something potentially bad happens, you have somebody to reach out to. That's it. You don't have to be buddy buddy. You don't have to tell your secrets. You don't have to hold hands and skip down the street and I don't know, go to beaches together and stuff like that. Don't have to do any of that. Just somebody who will listen to you and somebody that you will listen to. I'll go one step further. Maybe there's not a lot of talking. I don't really do much fishing, but I got a lot of fishermen in my family, and they tell me they go out there and they don't talk at all. So there's that. But they still go out with their friends and do it. They're still getting the benefit of that. There's also the test of who would you call at 2 o'clock in the morning if something goes wrong? That's actually pretty important because a lot of us are like, well, shit, I was always the person somebody called. Is there somebody that you can call at 2 o'clock in the morning? Is there somebody that would call you at 2 o'clock in the morning? Now, those are very different relationships. The of As opposed to the people that you would hang out with and just have a good time with or whatever. The person that you would call at 2 o'clock in the morning might not be the person that you hang out with and are buddy buddy and go have a beer and giggle and chat. Well, I know men don't giggle, but and chat and all the rest of that. That's the person who gets shit done. You call somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning and there's a problem. Something needs to be solved. Something needs to be addressed, right? So you want that kind of person. I've listed a lot of different relationships here, and I'm hoping that none of this scares you. If anything, I hope it makes you feel a little bit better because you might say, you know what, I do want a bunch of friends and I'm going to put more effort into it. When I'm at Bible study this week, I'm going to talk to somebody. I'm not just going to run out when it's over. Or when I swing by and get a coffee, I'm going to actually go in. I know the same people are in there at the same time. I'm going to go in and actually talk to somebody. Or maybe instead of riding your bike by yourself, you join a cycling club. Maybe instead of walking by yourself, you join a walking club. There's so many things that you can do. Spend some time with your spouse or your significant other. Let your kids know that you think they're pretty cool. A lot of things you can do. A lot of things you can do. There's no rules necessarily except to like and respect other people and to give yourself a lot of grace. So much grace. This is not a time to be critical of yourself. This is not a time to find fault with yourself. This is a time to say, I have lived the life that I lived. I am who I am, and I'm going to continue, and I'm going to have a good life, and I'm going to take care of myself. And hopefully, in that process, you start helping other people, and your life gets richer and more rich, and richer and more rich. And you get all the good benefits from those relationships. And let's be honest, relationships can be hard sometimes. Maybe you've started a friendship with somebody and you realize you don't like the person. Or maybe you have a long term, long time friendship and you realize, I don't really like that person. Move on. Move on. They might still call you at 2 o'clock in the morning because you might still be dependable, but that doesn't mean you have to go out and grab a coffee or a beer with them the next day. So, to wrap all of this up, you matter. Your future matters. Your relationships matter. And you are part of those relationships. And there needs to be somebody else in that. And you can find them. You might already have them right there in your life, or you might have to step out and find them. Not everybody is a hook and a crook. I know a lot are, but not everybody. So there are people out there, and there are people out there that are going to find you so amazing and so interesting. And you don't have to tell them your war stories. You don't even have to talk anything first responder at all. Just be a person. Talk about a book. Talk about a vacation. Talk about whatever. Talk about food, for God's sake. I mean, look at all the pictures of food on social media. So you can be you without all this stuff, or you can find a relationship that all this stuff can be just comfortable and fine in. What I hope you're hearing from this is you matter. You need relationship. Go out there and do it. You're worth it. And I would love to hear about it. I, again, am Kimberly Stratman. I am the owner of To The Point Coach, certified life coach, certified retirement life coach. I help individuals create a life or recognize and acknowledge the life they have today that they're living that will allow them and will lead to a good retirement. Remember, retirement is not a destination, it is just more living. So let's live. Let's live.